Sunday, May 9th. My name is Dave Coker, and this is Talking About Finance. You know the routine. A few slides about what me and my buddies are talking about in the markets. First up, take a look at copper. What we're doing is we're looking at copper here over the past year. It's a 1 year chart. It's absolutely incredible. So we're seeing a 97% increase in copper prices. Now, in case you think this is abstract and it's not important, no, 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 it's extremely important. And I've listed the major applications of copper on the chart there. And you can see it's a material that's used in electrical work, roofing and plumbing, industrial machinery, and to create alloys. So basically, it touches your life even though you may think it's remote and it's just a manifestation of what's going on in the markets. It's always interesting to think about this. What's driving copper? Could this be the cause? It's possible. In fact, it's highly probable. Here we've got Chinese imports of iron ore and copper, and basically we've got the dotted line represents the 5 year trend. And you can see on the right-hand chart that Chinese imports have been soaring. And of course, we know that China's GDP is rocketing upwards. It's going to be roughly 20% for 2021. I've seen estimates from some analysts as high as 24, 25%. So, yep, a lot of good stuff going on in China right now, and that could be the cause. But regardless, China's coming of age. And I've often said I don't think the nation gets as much respect from the global community, in particular the West, as it should. And Australia and China have a very, very close relationship. It's driven largely by physical proximity. They're huge trade partners. And because of that, Australia's gone decades without a recession. But look at this, there's some tension now. And look at the Aussie dollar. It totally cratered when the Chinese pulled out from trade talks in the region. They're viewing Australia as being a little bit too much kowtowing to the United States. And they actually yanked out. Here's an interesting one. This is really, really fascinating. We know there's a lot of good stuff going on in crypto. And if you read my blog, we talk about the institutional adoption of cryptocurrencies by many, many institutions. And Goldman announced that they formed a cryptocurrency desk. So big money's joining the party. They're not trading cash, or well, that's hard to say. it's not like stocks. They're only trading dividends. They're not actually trading Bitcoin, but they're trading non-deliverable forwards of Bitcoin. And on my podcast, you can take a look if you're not familiar with non-deliverable forwards. I've got them detailed there. So you can actually go in and take a look at it. But it's really interesting that Goldman's coming to the party. And of course, the big question is, are they going to stay focused on Bitcoin? Ethereum's actually outperformed. You can blame me. I am well documented. It's well known amongst my friends. I have a Midas touch. And I actually bought, I've mentioned this story to you guys before. I bought a bunch of Ethereum, going back roughly to January, early January, sometime around there, because I needed it for a project. And I totally miscalculated the amount of Ether I would need. And I bought far too much. Bought like $2,500 worth. When I only needed 250. In my defense, I can say the project's documentation was crap. And consequently, I was going to sell the Ethereum, but then the price picked up. And I don't need any more taxes, guys. I've got very complex affairs as it is. So I held on to it. So yes, you can thank me. But in any case, you can see that Ethereum's really been pounding away compared to Bitcoin. Bitcoin's been doing quite well, but Ethereum stomps it. But still, they both sit in the back seat compared to the pup, Dogecoin. And this is really cool. This is really fascinating because we can see it's a 1 month chart. It's been up 692%, almost 700% over the horizon. But check out what happened. Now, there's a comedy show in the States called Saturday Night Live. And Elon Musk went on Saturday Night Live and he made a couple jokes about Doge. And I don't know exactly what, I don't really watch American TV. I might check that out. But regardless, he made some jokes about Dogecoin and the coin actually cratered. It's sort of surprising because you would think when a celebrity or a techno celebrity of his stature goes on nationwide TV in the States, a lot of people would be sitting there and just buy some Dogecoin. I would have bet that would have happened. I'm very surprised that it actually sold off. It's very interesting. But we know that when you buy and sell crypto, you got to pay taxes, and Mr. Biden wants to raise taxes. So of course I'm a little anti that. I think they got plenty of money. They just got to scale back on the military a little bit and stop these adventures. It's what I call delivering democracy. So they got to cut that out a little bit. But regardless, you can see here that the U.S. collects very, very low amount of corporate tax compared to other OECD nations. It's really wild. They're sharply below the average. I have to say, this chart, one of my friends, she sent it over. She works over at New York for a bank that I won't name, but we've talked about it in this presentation already. And it's very interesting that they collect so little taxes. I maintain that's because of the complexity of the U.S. tax code. I am a multinational person, multiple nationalities, property in 3 different countries. And I'll tell you guys, it's a little odd what goes on in the States. I need tax people to report my taxes and to calculate my taxes on the US side. It's very, very complex. And to be totally honest, I wouldn't need them if I was just a British citizen with the same type of global footprint in terms of property and stuff. It's really, really weird what goes on there. Some people say the US tax code is roughly 75,000 pages. I haven't seen it myself, but I've seen photographs and seen that claim made many, many times. And that may have something to do with it. So Mr. Biden shouldn't be raising taxes. Maybe go to a flat tax, go to simplify the US tax code, and then he could start to collect around the OECD average, and they probably have plenty of money. And the final thing, guys, and I do a really good presentation called Women in the Boardroom. And this caught my eye. And again, one of my friends, he's seen the presentation before, and he sent this over. And I'll do the presentation for you guys on this channel at a later date. But we can see that we've got representation, female representation on bank boards. And it's interesting to take a look at what's going on in different nations. Of course, we know gender diversity at the board level drives outperformance, increased performance, I should say, compared to peers. It's been proven many, many times. And I first became aware of this phenomena. Oh God, we're going back to 2003, I believe it was. I was in Paris for a conference, saw this tall, blonde woman speaking, and she was talking about the Lagarde Index. And I was like, what is this? And it was Christine Lagarde before she reached her fame. And she was talking about gender diversification. I didn't believe her. I went off and researched it. I was floored. And the message from this is, guys, when you're looking at possible investments, it pays to look at the boardroom as well as the balance sheet. And it's very, very fascinating when you look at that. Now, the next step, of course, and I'll take this forward, would be to actually get the data for French banks, for instance, or for other banks in other nations and try to see how they perform compared to their peers in the States and nations that don't have gender diversity. And the final thing I'll say on this is that now that we know gender diversity drives increased performance, it's welcome that in many domiciles, it's a regulatory requirement that the board have certain number of females. And furthermore, some of the Nordic nations are taking it a little bit further. The board now must represent the complexity or the diverse makeup of the workforce. So if you've got 15% Indian, maybe you've got 20% Bengali, and so on, the board, they want to see that type of diversification. And I remember from reading about this years ago, it's actually something that incentivizes rank and file workers. If they can see somebody up there at the board that is from their background, from their nation, they see themselves, and they actually try harder. So yeah, it's all about the women, man, but it's a little bit further. A very fascinating topic. All right, guys, thank you very much for your time. My name's Dave Coker. Take care. You're going to have an incredibly profitable week. Markets are booming. They're on fire. I don't know about you, but I'm minting money these days. Take care.